Darren, I'm only making this video for you, mate, because I told you I was going to make a video about Newcastle's game against Palace and then the game against Villa. But then after you guys lost, I really didn't feel like making the video. But because I promised you, here's the video. Football bread. Hi guys, welcome to Football Bread. If you're new here, welcome. Why am I wearing the mask? Read the pinned comment. Let's go. So Newcastle did some thrashing.
Newcastle United 5-0 victory over Crystal Palace.
And then they got thrashed. Newcastle doing their very best Jekyll and Hyde impression. For those of you too young to know the Jekyll and Hyde reference, just look it up. But let's talk about those two results for Newcastle and then look ahead to the rest of the season for the Magpies. But before I start, do you know what I really love about Newcastle fans? You know how to just accept a loss and say to the other team, fair play, you played better than us, congratulate the team and move on. And to be fair to the Villa fans as well, the Villa fans have been very gracious in saying they want Newcastle to get Champions League and they've congratulated you on your great season. Now, there's a lot of fan bases, traditional Big Six, that could learn a lot from you guys' fan bases about how to just graciously accept the defeat. Anyway, I digress. On Wednesday, the 16th of April, while my team was winning at the Burnabout, Newcastle were scaring the life out of everybody else in the Premier League with a phenomenal performance against Crystal Palace. Now, Palace have been very good this season, but Newcastle were imperious, honestly. Jacob Murphy was looking like a man possessed. Harvey Barnes has been on fire. Fantastic performance from him. Isak was finishing like the original Ronaldo. R9. So much confidence. Full striking ability through the roof. Defense was solid. Midfield was crazy. Sandro Tonali covering every blade of grass. Newcastle looked like a really scary team. Like, after watching that Newcastle performance against Crystal Palace, you just couldn't imagine them not winning all the rest of their games playing like this. So when I sat down to watch Newcastle play Villa, I was expecting another Newcastle win. Even though outside of Newcastle, Aston Villa are the other informed team in the Premier League, I was just expecting that Newcastle were going to get it done against Villa. But Villa proved to be the much better team on the day and they got the job done quite emphatically. But listen, we know why. This was the 7th time in a row that Newcastle were starting the same starting 11. The last time that happened was 2016. 2016, that's 9 years ago. Not only that, it was Newcastle's 3rd game in 7 days and it was just one game too many for a team that features an over 30 centre-back pairing and that plays such a high aggressive press. Newcastle just didn't have the legs, they didn't have the energy. They looked physically and mentally spent against the Villa side who were really up for it. So yeah, this Newcastle squad is basically just running on fumes. They can't play high intensity football every 3 days. The squad hasn't been strengthened enough in the last 18 months to be able to do that. Villa had the game-changing substitutes ready to come on. Onana scored a screamer, Ramsey came on, changed the tempo. Newcastle brought on Anthony Gordon and Joe Willett, but by then the damage was already done. As far as individuals go, Bruno, I don't know guys, like I can't remember a worse Bruno Guimaraes performance. You guys would have to let me know in the comments if he's had one. And I'm not saying that he was lucky to stay on the pitch, but he was lucky to stay on the pitch. That is the least effective I've seen Alexander Isak be in a game. He was kind of a ghost. Murphy didn't offer much. Fabian Schär will not want to see Ollie Watkins or even a picture of Ollie Watkins or hear the name Ollie Watkins for a long time, because Ollie Watkins really had his way with Fabian Schär. Gave him a torrid time. And Dan Burn, we love Dan Burn, that wasn't his best showing. Bad day at the office all round, players and coaching staff included. But honestly, Newcastle really don't have to worry. It's not panic stations. It's a bad result. They can put it to one side and move on. And let's be honest, in the race for the Champions League, Villa needed this win more, and you could see it. Obviously, nobody wants to lose a game, but Newcastle are in a position where they could almost afford to lose this game in a weird way. And I think it was a bit of a wake-up call for them. There's no more midweek games now for Newcastle. They have a full week between each of these fixtures. But the crux of the matter is, for Newcastle, the squad isn't big enough to compete on all fronts. This summer is going to be a massive summer for Newcastle. You guys haven't had any serious major additions in 3 transfer windows now. The quality and depth of the squad in general just needs to improve. But even with the limitations of the squad as is, this Newcastle team has been phenomenal. Winning a domestic trophy for the first time in 70 years and on track to finish 3rd in the Premier League, if not 2nd. Here's a fun fact. Newcastle need 1 more more away victory to equal their club record for Premier League away wins in a single season. Let that sink in. Newcastle have the chance to equal or surpass their club record for away wins in a Premier League season. So look, Newcastle are having a phenomenally outstanding season. We can relax about this one loss versus Villa. Now they need to dial back in for the remaining 5 games. 1 week's rest between all the rest of these fixtures and just see out the season well to guarantee this 3rd place, potentially 2nd place finish. And I'm so glad there's video evidence I was on the Newcastle train early. 3 months ago, I made this video. It's time to be honest about Newcastle, the Premier League's rising power. That's why most of you are here subscribed to this channel, and I could see it. I could see Newcastle now are perpetually going to be one of the best teams in the Premier League season to season. That was very clear to me that that's what was happening. This summer's going to be crucial, but I'm happy that I made that video on record showing that I saw this coming early. Let's look ahead. Where do Newcastle go from here? Their last 5 games are against Ipswich, Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal and Everton. Personally, I can see them winning 4 of those 5. I'm hoping the one that they don't win is against my team, Arsenal, of course. I think that will be a draw. But Newcastle are going to get Champions League, and that is fantastic for the club. Newcastle are going to finish either 2nd or 3rd in the league. Obviously, I've got a connection with you guys, the Newcastle fans. But I love this team. I love this manager. I want to see you in the Champions League, but I also want to see Villa back there. From my perspective, Liverpool, Arsenal and Newcastle are going to be in the Champions League next year. It's between Man City, Chelsea and Villa who are going to get the other 2 places. One of those clubs is going to miss out. Who do you think it is? Let me know in the comments. Who do you think is going to miss out on Champions League football? To sum it up, guys, it's fine. Get 4 wins out of these last 5 games and there'll be a big summer ahead for Newcastle in order to really bring this squad up to the level it will need to be next season, to compete in the Champions League next year and to compete on all the domestic fronts as well. But let me know in the comments, guys, how many wins do you think you're going to get from your last 5 fixtures? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.
It's almost 2 years to the day that you lost here quite comfortably in the Premier League. You went on to finish 4th that season. Is it helpful that you've got sort of that experience in the dressing room to navigate you through this?
Yeah, definitely. We've got experienced players all over the dressing room to handle the situation, to be in the situation that we're in. Of course, it's difficult to take coming off a defeat like this when we've done so well recently. But as I said, this is the Premier League. You come up against a tough opposition. Sometimes you've got to hold your hands up, and Villa was a better team on the day.
Just finally, you've mentioned the fans there.
Yeah.
How important are they going to be on Saturday?
Yeah, huge. And I've always said that ever since I arrived at the club. You know, we win together, we lose together. I understand maybe a lot of them might be frustrated about the result today, but the one thing that the lads will always give is everything. They're committed as ever, the players. And today just wasn't our day. Now we've just got to regroup, stick together as always, players, fans, staff, because there's 5 massive games and we know the objective, and that's trying to qualify for the Champions League.
Football bread.